Imagine this: the vast American wilderness, stretching from coast to coast, rich with life, untamed rivers, dense forests, and stunning coastlines. But now, picture a drill piercing that landscape, slicing through decades of untouched beauty. America stands at a crossroads: preserve or extract? What would you choose? Though, to be fair, some of us might prefer drilling our way through that morning coffee. Trump's environmental agenda wasn't just a list of policies. It was a promise, a commitment to energy independence, economic growth, and an unapologetic America First stance. But did it go too far? Or was it simply about taking back control? Let's dive in, because understanding this agenda means asking ourselves where we want to go as a nation. Drilling. Few words are as controversial. Under the Trump administration, drilling became a symbol of American self-reliance. Trump opened up federal lands and offshore waters that had been off-limits for years. His administration believed drilling could fuel economic growth, create jobs, and reduce reliance on foreign energy sources. But at what cost? If we're sacrificing our environment, are we really moving forward? Is it just me, or does the idea of drilling seem more like a breaking up with nature kind of move? The Trump administration took a sledgehammer to the Environmental Protection Agency's regulations, arguing that many of these policies suffocated American business. They targeted Obama-era policies, like the Clean Power Plan, which Trump argued stifled industries and jobs. These rollbacks are still affecting us today. But how? Stay with me, because this impact goes deeper than we might think. For decades, climate change has been at the center of the environmental debate. But Trump's approach? He pulled America out of the Paris Agreement, claiming it was unfair and economically damaging. Supporters cheered, while critics worried about the implications. You could say Trump gave the cold shoulder to global warming initiatives. But did he go too far? The repercussions of this decision might surprise you. Our national parks are sacred spaces, refuges for wildlife and symbols of natural beauty. Yet, the Trump administration opened parts of public lands for drilling and logging. This move raised questions. Are these lands for everyone, or for economic gain? What happens to a land when it's seen only for profit? Environmentalists sounded the alarm, while others argued that Trump's policies were necessary for economic resilience. There was anger, but also support. Two sides divided by what they believed was best for the future. So, who's right? Are we risking it all, or are these policies helping the people? To coal, or not to coal? That's been the question for years. Trump's policies revitalized coal mining and other fossil fuel industries, but the controversy remains: is this sustainable? Or are we dooming ourselves to dirtier air and more climate disasters? We need to know. Our future might depend on it. While some saw economic growth, others feared the environmental costs were too high. Trump's policies aimed at cutting red tape, but did they cut too deep? This struggle between growth and preservation is one of America's greatest debates. We need to know. Our future might depend on it. While some saw economic growth, others feared the environmental costs were too high. Trump's policies aimed at cutting red tape, but did they cut too deep? This struggle between growth and preservation is one of America's greatest debates. How much are we willing to sacrifice for a booming economy? As we look forward, Trump's environmental decisions will have long-term effects, many still playing out. From climate policies to drilling rights, his approach has reshaped America's environmental landscape. But here's the good news: our choices today can shape tomorrow. We can learn from this legacy, adapt, and find balance. Because when it comes to the future of our planet, the stakes couldn't be higher. So, what's next for America's environment? That, my friends, is a question only time will answer. America's environmental journey is far from over. Each choice matters, each action has weight. And as we move forward, we must remember, preserving our planet and advancing as a nation are not opposing forces. They're two sides of the same coin. Will we rise to the challenge? The decision is in our hands. Don't let your voice go unheard. What future do you want to leave behind? Our choices today will echo for generations. The policies we put in place now, The energy sources we prioritize, the way we treat our land and water, all of it adds up to a legacy. And here's the real question: what kind of legacy are we leaving? Will it be one of short-term gain or long-term sustainability? Or will we end up explaining to future generations why polar bears are just holograms in history books? Many Americans feel torn between these two priorities: the promise of economic growth and the essential need to protect our planet. Trump's approach emphasized economic independence and jobs, even if that meant scaling back environmental safeguards. To some, that trade-off was worth it. For others, it felt reckless. But let's think about it. Are we being forced to choose between these two? Or can we balance the scales? If we can't find harmony between economy and environment, what kind of future are we building? America's approach to climate policy doesn't just stay within our borders. It affects global initiatives. Trump's withdrawal from the Paris Agreement set off a wave of reactions around the world, influencing international relations and the environmental commitments of other nations. The U.S. has always been a leader, but what happens when we step back from the global climate stage? Is this what we want our legacy to be, a country that shrinks back when the going gets tough? As we re-enter global dialogues on climate, will we commit to being a leader in sustainability once more? Whatever your views, one thing is clear: Trump's environmental agenda has taught us a lot about the values we hold as a nation and the challenges we face. We've seen the power of deregulation to fuel industry, but we've also seen the potential consequences on our natural world. This experience can guide us as we make future choices. But learning isn't enough, action is what counts. Will we take these lessons and use them to craft a better, balanced path forward? So where does that leave us? At the crossroads. Imagine an America where we don't have to choose between economic growth and environmental protection, a future where innovative technologies create sustainable jobs and clean energy becomes the norm. It's not just a dream, it's possible if we push for it. Besides, who doesn't want to brag about both a booming economy and air that doesn't taste like a car exhaust? The future is right there, waiting. The only question is, will we seize it or let it slip away? As we move forward, let's remember that our choices define our nation's legacy. The debates over drilling, regulations, and climate action are far from over. Each of us has a role to play. Whether it's how we vote, the conversations we have, or the way we choose to live, we can all contribute to building a future we're proud of. So ask yourself, what kind of world do you want to leave behind? A world of short-term wins or a sustainable future for generations to come? The decision starts with each of us. Thank you for joining us on this journey into America's environmental policies. If you believe in building a better, balanced future, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this message. Let's keep the conversation going, and together, let's make a difference. The future of our planet depends on today's choices. Join us in building a sustainable tomorrow.